Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Hey, welcome to Soccer in 60, the show where we go around the greater LA area and talk about all things soccer here with the LA Galaxy, the LAFC. We've got Angel City, we've got Orange County Soccer Club, and then the Inland Empire's Empire Strykers. Today we're going to have a great show. We've got John McCarthy, the starting goalkeeper for the LA Galaxy. That interview is going to be awesome, so stick around for that one. It's coming up right away. We're going to talk about LAFC and their results at the Portland Timbers at Providence Park. We have also got Coach Paul Wright of the Empire Strykers coming on today. We've got some great updates on Angel City and about their result over the weekend. And then we're going to get down to Orange County SC and talk about their continuing to be undefeated season. With me today is my awesome co-host, Christian Fillian. How are you, Philly?
What's going on, Tim? I'm feeling frenetic, energetic, clearly poetic, psyched, hyped, and ready to rock a mic. Soccer in 60, baby. Let's go.
Oh, it's going to be a great day, man. We've got some great interviews. We're going to talk about some super fun stuff today. It's going to be great, man. I'm stoked. It's a little windy out here. And, so hopefully we're all playing indoor soccer today.
Right? I mean, I just got back from New York City a couple days ago where it was high 50s, low 60s with rain. If you're calling this windy, I'm ashamed of you, my friend. You're from Michigan. This should be nothing. Dirt off your shoulder.
You know what? It is nothing. It's, I was so used to the snow and the wind and the blizzard, and people would go like, well, why is it called a blizzard? I'm like, well, it's snowing and there's 40-mile-an-hour winds. That's why it's a blizzard. You can't see anything. Whiteout conditions.
Gross. I never liked snow. I consider it the dandruff of the gods. Never liked the fall. The leaves are starting to go through. People talk about how it's nature's fireworks. None of that. And for me, if bears are getting ready to hibernate, what do they know that we don't know? I'm not a fan. You can keep your seasons. I want warm weather all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of warm weather here in Southern California, thanks for everybody listening to us on KMET 1490 radio here in the Inland Empire, all the way out to San Bernardino, Riverside, Palm Springs. Look at you. Give me a quick call and, check us out on the on Instagram at Soccer in 60. We got Phillies on Instagram. We've got an email address that you can send to. You can send it to Tim at Soccer in 60. I'll be checking that throughout the show. And, we're also streaming. We're on the Empire Strykers Instagram or YouTube. Check us out, stream, listen live, send us emails.
But no negative derogatory things. If you're going to do that, send them by way of Tim. I don't answer to derogatory DMs.
Perfect. And with that, we've got on today, and I'm going to let my buddy Philly take care of the intro, but we've got John McCarthy coming on right now.
Oh, this is awesome. Certainly looking forward to this. When people hear the name Philadelphia, it conjures up certain images. Cheesesteaks, Rocky, passionate sports fans. And with the success of the Philadelphia Union, soccer is in the minds of the people from the city of brotherly love. Perhaps they're thinking of Jim Curtin or Andre Blake. But for me personally, only one name pops into my mind. In what I consider the best story in Major League Soccer today, yesterday, going forward, our guest is Philly, born and raised. Played collegiately at LaSalle, where upon graduation, he left as the all-time leader among goalkeepers in saves, shutouts, and games played. After graduation, a little bit of time within USL League Two, making it to the MLS as a member of the Philadelphia Union behind Andre Blake. Part of that inaugural season with Inter Miami before coming out to the City of Angels, playing for LAFC, and came up in a very, very big moment, which we will allude to momentarily. Now a member of the LA Galaxy, he is flourishing in that role as a consistent starter, finally, and dare I say, the best damn keeper the Galaxy have had in a long time. Folks, it's my honor and privilege to welcome the 2022 MLS Cup MVP and starting goalkeeper for the LA Galaxy, John McCarthy. John, welcome to Soccer in 60.
How do I back that up, man? Thanks for the intro, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys having me on. You pretty much did my whole career right there. That was a good intro.
There's so much to say and so many great accolades. I mean, it would have been a podcast on its own, but first and foremost, I just got to say, I have the utmost respect and admiration for you, sir. Not just because of what you did in 2022, but because of how hard you worked in your career, how patient you were, what a great teammate you've been in the past. You're finally getting to enjoy the fruits of your labor as a consistent starter in this league. You truly are a testament to hard work paying off and an inspirational story to upcoming goalkeepers and, of course, to content creators and media folks like myself and Tim.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's been a journey, and like you said, bouncing around from MLS to USL, back to MLS, out to LA, stuff like that. So it's been a journey. It's been a good ride. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, but I'm happy the way things are going right now. Hopefully to keep building forward.
Yeah, now as a part of the LA Galaxy, the Galaxy are an exciting team to watch. Currently sitting in first place, having recently bumped Vancouver from the top spot. You're one of the top scoring teams in the league. What's more impressive is you're getting it done on the road, 3-1-1, and 1-0-2 at home. And there's a lot of talent on the pitch, and y'all can make a potential deep run in the postseason. The belief is clearly there. The performance on the pitch is obvious. John, talk to us a little bit about the chemistry in the locker room and how this team that has a fair amount of newcomers seems to have gelled so quickly.
Yeah, I said it before. When you go to a team and there's not any bad eggs or I don't know if I can curse, but I'm not going to, any bad people on the team or bad attitudes, it makes a huge difference. This is one of those teams where you can see that everyone is I think fully invested in the group. And I think it's a big point of emphasis when everyone's invested in the team success leads to good things for the individuals on the team. So that'll be good for the group in the long run, hopefully. And like you said, we are very, very good, some very good attacking pieces and some attacking players that have shown well so far this year, and hopefully continue to stride forward. So it's been a great start to the season so far.
Yeah, you'd think that you guys have been together for a while with the chemistry developed between Pooch and Peck and obviously Payne, so phenomenal players. Now, for you personally, in your role as the team's number one, you've come up big time and time again, arguably preventing the Galaxy from dropping points, whether at home or on the road. You've taken your game to a whole new level. And throughout your history, you've played under some great goalkeepers. You've been coached by the likes of Oka Nikolov at LAFC, a legend in the Bundesliga with Eintracht Frankfurt. How has all that knowledge accumulated over these years since your Rookie of the Year season with Rochester Rhinos in MLS? How has that benefited you presently? And what, if anything, has changed in terms of your training regimen? Because like I said, you're operating on a whole different stratosphere.
Thanks, man. No, like touching on Oka Nikolov, he was my guy when I was in Philadelphia. Really pushed me at a young age. First couple years as a pro. A lot of tough days with him where he'd break me down, and then some days where he helped me develop and really push me to get better. That's the guy that he is, but he was always in my corner. Man, I had to ignore it. Sorry, wife.
You're a popular guy. Yeah.
But he was great. He was always there for me, and he was the reason why I was out at LAFC. So he's probably the best goalkeeper coach I've had throughout my career. Is the longest one I've worked with, 4 or 5 years, and we created a great relationship off the field. Touching on now with the time at the Galaxy with Hartman, the guy's as experienced as you can get pretty much for an American goalkeeper. He's been through it all. He has national team caps. He's a legend for LA Galaxy, and he's in my corner, and he's a really positive guy, and has a lot of insights on the game that he's trying to help me develop and stay true to it. So overall, it's been a lot of good goalkeeper coaches and a lot of belief that I put in my goalkeeper coaches throughout my time to help me develop.
I want to hog up all the time. Tim, why don't you ask our guest a question?
You bet. Hey, John, Tim Kolacz here, man. Thanks again for joining us today. You've mentioned several of your goalkeeper coaches. One of the things that I'm always fascinated about is how you analyze the exact situation coming up after you've made a save versus whether it's on your knees or you lay down on the ground versus when you make a save and you're standing up. What is that thought process as to how to look for that immediate outlet pass or when you hold on to the ball and build out from the back?
Just to be clear, you want to know after what's my thought process after a save?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I'm able to hold on to it, the process is can I get up somewhat quick but controlled, to maybe get into a counterattack situation for our team, find an outlet and let them develop the play from there. But never try to force it and make a turnover because the guys are the ones that are running and defending for me. So as you try to, there's certain moments where you have to read the game early in the game. You might be able to take a chance or two on a long ball or a throw or a distribution or something like that. Later on in the game, you might want to slow it down a little bit depending on the score and stuff like that. Give the guys a breather. And get organized before you make any decisions. So there's a couple of things that went into the moment, but those are some of the insights I got for you.
Yeah, that's great because I'm always interested about the thought process. When as a uh, referee, former referee, I always looked at, I tried to read the play ahead of time so I could figure out where that ball was going to go. So that insight is pretty cool. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
The last game you guys played, just are you looking for extra guys? Are you looking for Pooch to get it right in the midfield, or do you mentioned trying to go for that long ball? Who are you? Are you trying to put it over their head, or are they running back to you? Or what do you?
If the ball's in my hands, I think it's much easier to throw. To find a throw over anywhere in between 18 and midfield. I think that's a good area to find a player on a throw. You have to. I think when you throw the ball out, you have to give them enough time to have two touches. It's very hard to whiz one out to somebody and they're just gonna one time it to somebody else. Um, and then yeah, there are opportunities where you can look in behind, but nothing. And if it's in behind, you're kind of just trying to hope you can hit them into space and they can run onto it. But that just depends on the amount of defenders they have back there. And like I said, in certain moments of the game, you don't want to press on too much, and you kind of have to slow down a little bit.
Watch that game against Vancouver. Brian White was an absolute pest. Very fortunate that he wasn't accurate within the first half. And I know I've got a million things I'd want to ask you, but obviously you've got better things to do than to hang out with us two chuckleheads. But obviously, since we cover LAFC and the Galaxy, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. You are a hero for LAFC without a doubt because of that. Because of the season you had in 2022 and obviously coming forward in 2023. But now, as a member of the LA Galaxy, 13 miles down the 110, what was the reception like for you when you hit BMO Stadium up recently for the most recent rendition of El Tráfico?
Yeah, it was a pretty good reception. They gave me a shout out and stuff like that on the big screen, for obviously the time that we spent together over 2 seasons and the trophies we were able to lift. So it was the overall good reception. I totally understand the ones that weren't too happy with me. That's part of the game. There was a lot of stuff that went on behind, but um, LAFC, I have nothing but love for their themselves as an organization, the fan base. It was an absolute joy to play for them. Um, nothing but love for them from top to bottom.
Uh-oh.
People keep calling me. I'm sorry.
Not,
People,
all,
ca-
all, all good. We're gonna wrap it
yeah.
up anyway. Just one quick question: has your commute gotten better or worse now playing for the Galaxy?
It's actually much shorter, much shorter. I went from driving anywhere from like 45 to 55 minutes to a couple minutes to 15, 20, nothing crazy.
Well, that's always great to hear. In this town, it's a pain in the rear in terms of commute. John, again, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Obviously, you see what's behind my shoulder. Big fan of you and all your accomplishments. We look forward to the future success that you have with the Galaxy, and keep on doing what you're doing. You are an inspiration to so many. I can't begin to tell you how much I admire you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It means a lot. Hopefully we can connect soon, and I wish you guys all the best as always.
All right. Good luck for the rest of the season, John.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
John. Have a great
Bye.
rest of the season.
Thanks, brother.
That I wasn't even kidding when I told you about how inspirational his story is. I mean, if you see like his journey, going up through USL League Two, a Rookie of the Year with the Rochester Rhinos, and then it was a tough journey for him playing as a journeyman, and now he's finally consistent. And it's just, I'm so proud of this kid. He's funny. He makes great sound bites, and he's a really talented goalkeeper.
Yeah, just amazing. I mean, to hear that story and go on, and now he's up with at the first team. He's starting. He's a hero for LAFC, and it's just incredible. And speaking of LAFC, let's get on to their game and give a quick rundown of that game up against Portland Timbers up in Providence Park. Why don't you go ahead and take the first half, Philly?
Without a doubt, just real quick, the Galaxy did win their last game against Vancouver. Now they're currently sitting in first place, so in a very good position. As far as LAFC is concerned, they went up to the Pacific Northwest to do battle with the Portland Timbers. An interesting reunion of sorts because LAFC is going up against their former beloved keeper and that of Maxime Crepeau, who signed on to Portland as a free agent January 17, 2024. Playing under legendary player Phil Neville. More legendary as a player, kind of working on that from a managerial perspective. One would be curious to think how well he would have been doing had he been able to stick around long enough to coach Messi and company at Miami, but nevertheless, that's Tata Martino's job. Also, the first opportunity we get to see Jonathan Rodriguez, the Uruguayan known as Cabecita, which means little head, started out at Uruguayan Giants Peñarol, had a heck of a career in Liga MX with Santos Laguna, Cruz Azul, and Club America, a player that I know for a fact that LAFC was looking at a few years back. And LAFC going into this game, folks, still looking for that first win on the road. 0-3-0 away from BMO Stadium this year. The last regular season game that LAFC won, you'd have to go back to October 7th, 2023 in Austin. I did mention regular season. Clearly, they won in the playoffs to make it to Columbus in the MLS Cup Finals. This is the 16th regular season game between them and the Timbers since 2018 in a series that's tied at 5-5-5. And that's not really going to change much. But LAFC did win the last three matchups. And starting the game at Providence Park, a lot of green-on-green action there. Dark green versus a smoke green. Kind of gross, if you ask me. A little tough to decipher between the two. And also, Portland's jersey, without the sponsor on it, where were you, Alaska Airlines? Looked like a practice kit. Anyway, LAFC sticking with the same exact starters that they've utilized in the past. Great to hear Max Bredos on the call. Good personal friend of mine. 3 minutes in, Portland hot right out of the gate, building out of the back. Ball gets to Cabecita in the midfield, pushes it on over to Anthony, but Anthony biffs on it. And here's a kid that was picked up last season from Portugal, a talented player. But then it wouldn't take much longer because a mere 8 minutes later, Portland gets the first goal of the game. Their designated player, Evander, which they spent a club record $8 million bringing in from Denmark, had himself an opportunity. And it was a weird opportunity in the sense that it looked more like a pass than a shot. Supposedly, it connected off of Felipe Mora. I saw that highlight multiple times. I really think Evander had the goal. It just took a weird bounce. If Mora wasn't even involved, he had Hugo Lloris screened off. That he wouldn't have made a play on that one way or another. So boom, right off the bat, Portland 1-0. And that's rough because anytime LAFC goes down early, it's tough to come back from. But 22nd minute, we have a draw, equalizer. Brilliant buildup from Edward Atuesta to Timothy Tillman, who's been on a roll. He threads it to Mati Bogusz, who came in between two defenders and smashes one right past his old teammate, and that of Maxime Crepeau. First goal of the game for LAFC and first goal for Mati Bogusz since the home opener against Seattle. 27th minute, Atuesta trying to create some magic again from outside of the box, but Maxime reminded all the LAFC supporters as to why he was such a great keeper. Moving forward to the 34th minute, Portland, goal. And this was all class on this scenario. Brilliant ball movement between Anthony and Mosquera. He had a great game. Pass with precision right to Evander. One touch, trapped it off his chest. Absolutely smashed the stitches out of that pelota and scoring the second goal of the game. He was wide open and unmarked. Timothy Tillman not there. Jesus David Murillo hustled as much as he could to cover him, but alas, Portland goes up 2-1 heading into the locker room, and things not looking so hot for LAFC the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, going into halftime on the road down 2-1, even against Portland, which has had a very clear, what am I trying to say here? A very clear advantage previous to these last three games. It's been very tough, and you mentioned it. Looking for that first road win, it's going to be tough. But 2 minutes into that second half, you mentioned him a couple of times. Maxime Crepeau comes out on a long ball to Boanga. Boanga takes it cleanly out of the air, and Maxine just hacks him down right outside the box, and he gets a straight red card. It was clearly a straight red card because had Boanga gotten a chance to get that ball, the cage is empty and that ball's in the back of the net. So with Boanga on the ensuing free kick, Bogusz comes up, takes a step up to that, and this was a piece of artwork. This free kick to get it up and down, and if you look at where the ball landed, it landed in the middle of the back of the net. And to be able to put that up and over a bunch of 6 foot tall defenders and then back down only about 4 feet above the ground, the goalkeeper was stunned. He never even saw that ball until it was dancing around in the plastic behind him. We're tied up 2-2, and the team LAFC is up a player. The Timbers are down. Timbers started out with a very aggressive 4-2-3-1 lineup for the start of the match, and at the end, the next 45 minutes of that game, they're playing a 4-4-2, which is a highly defensive, motivated system. But yet they're still getting free kicks. They're still fighting all the way through, as a good team like Portland does. There's Evander, you had mentioned him a minute ago. He hits the timber hits the top of the crossbar.
I like that. He hit the timber, the woodwork. That's actually very well played. Whether you meant to do it or not, I actually appreciate it.
Exactly. Thank you. And, and then in second half stoppage time, Kai Kamara was just about to get his 145th goal. And it just skates wide to the right-hand post. And, they get a good result, 2-2, changing those tactics for Portland kept them in that game because it could have easily been, a 1 or 2 goal victory for LAFC.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Pantomimes, who was the goalkeeper who subbed in for Maxime Crepeau. Obviously, the opening moments of his shift didn't turn out very well, especially with that gorgeous goal that you mentioned by Matty Bogusz. That's his first brace in Major League Soccer as a member of LAFC. And now he's tied with Timothy Tillman and Denny Boanga, 3 goals a pop. So the interesting factor with LAFC, it's not one player right now running away with all the goal-scoring accolades. They're playing a bit more balanced, and other players are stepping up and taking on some of the offensive workload from Denny Boanga. Denny, I don't want to say he's looked like a shadow of himself from last season because he's still aggressive and creates the opportunities. He just hasn't had that pinpoint position that the team relied upon last season. But obviously, happy memories for him in Portland, having helped LAFC clinch the Supporters Shield in 2022. With this, LAFC gets, believe it or not, it's shocking, their first road point of the season. They get one. Remember, it's a 2-2 draw. And now they're record 3-3-2 in the season, 11 points, tied for third place in the Western Conference, and only 2 points behind. Well, at this point, I'm sorry, I'm reading it before the Galaxy game, but they're only a couple of points shy of the LA Galaxy in terms of points. And the West is so condensed right now, even though with the LA Galaxy up on top right now, we're talking a mere 4 or 5 points separates them from even going down to the 8th place team. So it's going to be a really interesting contest in the West.
Yeah, and I think that bodes well for LAFC that Boanga's not scoring. He doesn't have 7 goals already this season. I think that's a much better distribution of the wealth, as it were, so that you've got you got Bogusz with 3 goals. You got multiple people putting their shots in the net, And that's the biggest thing that I like to see, and I think it's gonna bode well, very well for them throughout the course of the season, even if they don't get the likes of a Carlos Vela back into the locker room. I think they're on a very good track for a season-long run.
The question with Carlos Vela is if he signs on, how game day ready is he going to be? You look at Kai Kamara, LAFC signed him, then what? 2 days later, he featured in the next match. That's a man who kept himself going. Carlos Vela, I don't know how ready he would be at the end of the day. I know LAFC still hoping to get Olivier Giroud across the dotted line. So him coming in would definitely take a lot of the scoring workload off of Denis Bouanga. And obviously all the women at BMO Stadium will be thrilled to see the likes of Olivier Giroud. And how do I know this? Because my wife Panda has loved Olivier Giroud for years. So if I happen to be divorced anytime soon, it's all on Panda. Really quickly, LAFC, well, it's all Olivier Giroud and Panda. Next LAFC game will be at home at BMO Stadium on April the 20th at 7:30. They're taking on the New York Red Bull, or as I know the LAFC supporters lovingly call them, the New Jersey Energy Drinks. Always a good time when East Coast meets West Coast, going back to the days of the hip-hop era. So that'll be a fun one. That game, again, will be April 20th, 7:30 at BMO Stadium. Tickets are still available, but if not, you could always watch it on Apple TV.
That's gonna be a fantastic game against the New York Energy Drinks. I love watching that
New
game
Jersey.
because
I'm just kidding.
they they're a fun team to watch. They always get after it. They're always going to come after LAFC hard, and especially when they have to travel, 2,800 miles like you just did. They may or may not be a little tired, but if the LAFC can hop on them quick, I think that's going to be a good result for Polanco and friends. Moving on, let's move on to the Empire Strikers. We've been talking with Coach Paul Wright multiple times throughout the season. The Major Arena Soccer League playoffs are happening. There's already been some amazing upsets. And so let's bring on Coach Paul Wright.
Hey, how are you? Long time no talk.
I know it's been a minute, Coach. How you been?
I've been good. Watching these playoffs just like you guys. Trying to see how it all's gonna end.
Yeah, how shocking did you think that the Monterey upset was?
That was huge. Yeah, I watched that series. I remember texting the coach afterwards saying, "You guys just put on a hell of a show. Showed a lot of guts in battling those guys. Yeah, it's I never thought that that undefeated team would go down so easily like that. But yeah, all props to Milwaukee. They did a hell of a job. They deserve it."
Yeah, with Milwaukee winning, losing in a heartbreak in that first game and then winning, and then the game winner was just a thing of beauty. Taking that ball off the wall and then just rifling it short side. It was pretty amazing, and I can't wait for the playoffs to continue. What matchup are you looking forward to the most in this next round?
Yeah, tonight you got Chihuahua and San Diego kicking off their series tonight. That first game is going to be huge. That's going to set the tone for the rest of the series. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that game. But yeah, Milwaukee gutsy performance, and yeah, we'll see how the rest of it goes. But yeah, I'll be tuning in just like you guys.
Well, as a former member of the San Diego Sockers, I mean, no doubt you carved yourself a great career there. Nobody will ever wear the number 3 again. And the reason why is because it's in the rafters. You have so much success that you've accomplished within San Diego. I'd say there are very few professional athletes that have more rings than you do. Certainly Michael Jordan doesn't have as many rings as you do. So now you're obviously looking to transition that legendary career into that of the legendary aspect of being in a locker room with a clipboard. And with that being said, Coach, you and I have had the opportunity to get to know each other. We've had quite a bit of conversations over the course of this season. It was a tough one. We don't need to go down that road. But now that the season is behind you, talk to us about some of the things you learned in your first year as head coach, and talk to us about some of the memorable moments of the season.
Good to see you again, Philly. Yeah, we had plenty of conversations over this season about the team and the direction and how things were going. And actually, I really appreciate your insight too. You have definitely had some interesting insights on a couple of things that you could see from the box up there. But yeah, it was a rough season, like you said. We don't have to go back down that road, but I kind of expected that. Obviously, with the rebuild, it was going to be tough. Coming up with a lot of wins with a rookie team, a rookie head coach. But I think going through that season now, I know what to expect. I know what we need to do to put a championship team on the field. We need to get some veterans to mix in with these young athletic rookies that we have. We definitely, and I think on my side, there was definitely a lot of growth throughout the season. Towards the end of the season, I definitely felt a lot more comfortable in that position. Coming straight out of from a player. But with that being said, I definitely know what we need to do to build a championship team here now. I've got the landscape of the league, the teams, the players. So yeah, there's some pieces that were incredible. I mean, I would have to say Marco Fabian was a highlight of the season. Just watching and what he did game after game, just an outstanding player. One of the if not the best player I've ever seen in person. So that was a highlight. Getting to see the young guys grow and mature throughout the season, and getting to understand the game, understand how to work as a unit. That was great to see too. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to continuing and building off of what we just left off.
Yeah, Marco Fabian was a highlight reel. Pretty wild to think that it took him a little while to get adjusted to the indoor game. He absolutely blows the argument out of the water that outdoor players that are successful can't find success indoors. Now, real quick, we talk about some of the young players. It was a joy watching your son Anthony develop as he did from the game one up until towards the end of the season, like a drastic 180 improvement. It was awesome. I imagine it must have been special to you getting to coach him, but talk about that feeling you had when he scored that first goal that he had in the arena that he scored it in. Talk to us about how that made you feel, not only as a coach, but as a father.
Yeah, it was an interesting dynamics because he's been over in England for so long, and so we really probably the last 10 years really hadn't had regular contact, and so just having him practicing, games, watching him, transition from the outdoor game to the indoor game. It was good to see, but we had, I mean, it was Claude de Lima. We had so many outdoor players that were making that transition, and yeah, I was just really happy that for him, he's an offensive player. We thought that playing him in the back, he would learn the game a little bit easier and adjust to the indoor game a little bit easier. But I think moving forward, we're going to try to get him in more of an offensive position. Like you said, that goal he scored in San Diego was a cracker. And I think there's just more of that. But we just need to get him in positions where he can do that. And now that he's comfortable, understands the game, I think he's hungry for that.
Hey, Coach, one last thing before we wrap it up. The change in the team as to how they were working, how they were adjusting to the indoor game from the start of the season, especially from December when you're bringing in, continue to bring in a few new players to the end of the season was remarkable. Although the results weren't up on the scoreboard, you could definitely see it. Guys like Brian Orozco coming in, starting the last 7 8 games. You had mentioned Claude, just the level of experience that these guys had in the outdoor game to bring that into the indoor game. How difficult was that at the very start to get them to really understand how to use the boards?
It was very difficult. Marco was obviously a natural, and he picked it up like that. For the other outdoor players, it took some time, and I just feel like watching the game tapes, going over our game tapes, going over watching other games, other teams, was very helpful for these guys. But I think that's one thing that we should even do even more of, is getting these guys to watch more video of other teams play. I think it's paramount, because the best teams in the league, they're doing it on a regular basis. Yeah, it was just one of those things where the progression for the other players outside of Marco, it was good. It just wasn't fast, and I'm expecting a lot more out of those guys coming this upcoming season.
Well, we're looking forward to it, Coach. Hey, thanks for your time today. I know that Philly and I are really looking forward to the coming season. I know the fans that are listening to us all over the radio and streaming us are looking forward to it as well. So I hope you have a great off season. We'll talk to you over the summer, and then good luck this coming year.
I appreciate it. We got a lot of work to do this off season. I'm going to be getting these guys together a lot sooner than we did last season. There's some tournaments, TST tournaments, that I have to go scout at. But it's going to be a busy off season. But yeah, we're looking forward to the next season also.
Yeah, Coach, you got to get yourself back to the gym. Clearly, like, you're letting yourself go. I mean, I could tell by like the vein in your arm. I mean, come on, you got to put down the cheeseburgers. For those of you just listening, I'm kidding. Paul Wright's made out of rock. I was just making a little joke there. You're looking great, Coach.
Hey, it's good to get back into my workouts now.
I don't think you ever stopped. What do you mean?
It was tough with the schedule that we had. It was tough, but no, enjoying that part of it too. But also very hungry to get back and kind of finish what we started here.
100%. Hope to see you in Carolina, by the way. Not sure if I'm going to be there, but I might. So hope to see you at TST.
Awesome. Let's connect if you do.
All right. Cheers, Coach. Great to see you again.
Hey, great to see you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Take care.
Wow.
Catching me in mid-gulp. Jeez.
Well, we got to keep you on your toes there, Philly. It's so much fun to see him always have that smile on his face, and I know the players are going to enjoy it, and it's just fantastic. So, hey, let's move on to Angel City and talk about their result this past weekend. They had a very solid game. Philly, why don't you take the first half?
Yeah, of course. Coming back is Angel City on the road for the third time this season. They had a tough loss against Kansas City, where the scoring line wasn't really indicative of the results on the pitch. 4-2 might have looked like a rough game, but in reality, Angel City played their hearts out. It's unfortunate that it didn't go their way. Going into Chicago, a team that comes off of a draw against the Orlando Pride, Chicago is sitting in second place, undefeated with a 2-0-1 record. Angel City still looking for their first win while sitting in 14th place at 0-2-1. And some changes in the starting lineup. Anderson doesn't get the start in between the pipes. We see Didi Harachich, who started the vast majority of Angel City's tenure in between the pipes for them. She'd just come off celebrating her 32nd birthday 24 hours prior. No Messiah Bright in the lineup. She was an unfortunate scratch for the game to go along, obviously, with Kristen Press and June Endo, but we don't need to go about that. Cool highlight, though, in the starting lineup. Jasmine Spencer makes her 175th NWSL appearance. So that's pretty cool stuff. Now, Angel City would have their work cut out for them, because they would go up against the likes of United States women's national team keeper and Chicago Red Star Alyssa Nair, who just came off a great victory against Canada in the She Believes Cup final. And then obviously the reuniting with Carrie Recaro, who had 21 games with with Angel City FC, 4 goals in 2022. Going right into the game, 14 minutes in, ACFC threatening. Madison Curry gets a great cross in, connects with Jasmine Spencer, but gets her shot, her header, saved by Alyssa Nair. Couple minutes later, Chicago comes back with a header. Their own Schlegel was off the mark. Lucky she was off the mark on a couple of occasions. She's just an absolute clinical finisher on normal occasions. 24th, ACFC attacking again. This time it's Spencer into Alyssa Thompson, who has a great cross into Sydney LaRue. Shoots it in wide, unfortunately misses it. 32nd minute, close call for Chicago, as Emsley either passed it to or I'm not exactly sure. Like, it went to Darty Howard, and it would have threaded the netting, but had it not been for a fine clearance by Tatum Milazzo, Nair would have had not had the clean sheet at that point. Milazzo had just a phenomenal clearance of the line. Without a doubt, that could have been the first goal of the game. Claire Emsley, she was awarded female of the match, player of the match. She was outstanding. Another opportunity by her in the 38th minute. Emsley to Darty Howard, but her shot isn't struck hard enough. Alyssa Nair there to make an easy save. And then in the 40th minute, a goal by Angel City FC. Claire Emsley, the Scottish international, who I got to tell you when we wrap it up about her, I'm so impressed with her. Free kick, and it happens to be an own goal off of Roll. She from the German defender who spent some time with not only Bayern Munich but Hoffenheim. And by the way, shout out to the Bundesliga, 2 teams in the Champions League semifinals. But as the broadcaster said, the lone goal was an own goal in the first half, and that's how things are going to happen or transpire after the first 45 minutes of Angel City's matchup against the second place Chicago Red Stars.
Yeah, going into that second half, the Angel City had, played really well that in the first half. And I know I'm going to say, like 5 more times, and I apologize. I do have that on my notes saying no, so I'm working on it. The second half starts off with a bang, 55th minute on a long drive into the box. Allie Schlegel makes sure, gets her head on the ball and makes sure that the crossbar is there, and she's denied a goal by the woodwork. And the rebound comes out and it's cleared away. And then only about 7 minutes later, a misplayed ball by the defense leaves to Sam Staub, sending a dangerous ball that is headed just wide, trying to get the Red Stars to equalize. And the later on in the game, the Red Stars are pushing hard to get the equalizer, so much so that they've got 7 players in the box on a corner. Staub sends in, and the 7 offensive players from the Red Star can't get a foot on it and can't get the ball into the net. About 10 minutes later, the Angel City does the exact same thing. 88th minute, we're looking at a corner kick, and there's no less than 8 Angel City players in the box trying to get that insurance goal. Unfortunately for Angel City, the ball is cleared out and it goes away. But after a couple of minutes of stoppage time, the final whistle blows and Angel City walks off with their first road win of the year. A solid 1-0 effort on the road against the Chicago Red Stars.
And something that's going to obviously add a little bit of fire underneath Becky Tweed's side. I mean, winning in this league is hard. Winning on the road against a tough team like Chicago, another hard task. And, Claire Emsley, what a game she played. I mean, as of right now, she's created a league-high 17 chances for her teammates. I mean, you see how clinical she is when she's on the corner, when she's taking the free kick. I mean, here's a player that's really getting things done in terms of setting up her teammates. The thing about Angel City, though, that is somewhat concerning to me is where are these goals going to come from? They have their opportunities, but Claire Emsley, is facilitating and feeding her teammates, but there's nobody on there that's really threading the netting. As I mentioned, Raw was the only player in the game to score a goal, and sadly, it was an own goal. Angel City needs to find some offense from their players. Is it going to be the likes of sensational Alyssa Thompson? Obviously, Sydney LaRue, the veteran, has her opportunities as well. But if this team is going to be competitive, and in which they absolutely can be, they're going to need to start finding other players contribute significantly offensively. But big shout out to Claire Emsley in the game that she played.
Yeah, the game that she played was just magnificent. And who else is going to come through on the front line? You had mentioned Sydney LaRue. Jasmine Spencer is getting in the mix. She's trying hard. She's putting balls on frame, but with as few goals as they have so far this season, we got to get, is it the team too young? Do they not have the experience to hit the ball in the right spots on the thing, or are they just not getting their chances?
It's a good question to ask, but obviously a win success breeds upon success, and they're going to get that opportunity to continue to succeed again as they have another game approaching on Sunday on April 21st against the NC Courage. And I'm finally going to have the opportunity to go see an Angel City game this season. I've had season tickets for them for quite some time, but because of all the calls with baseball that I've had over at UC Riverside, I haven't got an opportunity to go out there. So for any of you out there who have not gone to BMO Stadium to check out Angel City, you got to go. The atmosphere there is awesome. It's not awesome just for a women's game. It's awesome, period. Go out there and support these girls. Local soccer, the growth of the women's game, some really talented players on there. And with a win on underneath their belt, again, on the road against a tough Chicago Red Stars team, hopefully this opens up the floodgates, and hopefully they can put the shebang bang on the NC Courage.
For sure. And hopefully they put the wood to them and not hitting the woodwork. And just one last thing on Jasmine Spencer. She is an NWSL original, and she's the 8th player to reach that 175th match mark. So congratulations, Jasmine, and good luck this weekend. So let's move on to Orange County Soccer Club down here in Irvine. They are having a fantastic season. They're still undefeated. This last weekend's game was a 0-0 sister kisser, and the result doesn't really showcase what Orange County is doing, because we've talked about the youth movement from the Empire Strykers with Kai Garza. We're talking about Claire Emsley, we're talking about Giselle, we're talking about all these 17, 18-year-old players. Kennedy Fuller, is just a kid. And then you go to the Orange County SC soccer game this weekend, and you've got Duran Free, who is not even out of high school. Kid's 17 years old, and he made the start for Orange County Soccer Club this past weekend. And he played great. There was a couple of saves that, one was a real deep looping ball that kind of went over a offensive player, and he makes a diving left-handed save. And, we were looking where Colin Shuttler was. Colin Shuttler was, had a little bit of an injury, had a little bit of a knock. But when you can put a kid like Duran in, that team is really, really solid from the start to the finish.
Yeah, he looked good in his debut, got 3 saves, got the clean sheet. I mean, if you were expecting a lot of commentary in terms of goals and actions, and maybe this segment isn't for you, but a lot of good things are going on, as you mentioned, in Orange County. One thing that I was very much impressed with was the amount of supporters that were out there in San Antonio. I think I saw that the attendance was 6,957. It was wild and energetic. Really cool to see that in that level of football. So really good stuff. But Farid, 37th minute, had his first save. It took a while, in reality, for any kind of action to occur. That was the first real threat of the night, but making that save, 1 of 3. San Antonio within that first half controlled the ball, but really couldn't break through the orange curtain of what is Orange County Soccer Club's defense. A few yellows, some tactical yellows, but nothing too crazy. But Tim, one thing I wanted to bring up, and I didn't even realize it until I was following along in the commentary. 61st minute. I bring this up because obviously we're a show that covers the LA Galaxy and LAFC. 61st minute, I'm going to bring up the fact that Cameron Dunbar absolutely smoked his defender like a brisket and takes a shot that gets saved by Pablo Cisniega. Why does that matter? Because you got a former LA Galaxy player in that of Cameron Dunbar competing and taking a shot on a former player from LAFC, and that of Pablo Cisniega. And for those that don't know, Pablo spent a couple of years with LAFC, playing in 28 games. He was part of that 2019 Supporters Shield winning team. He also had a little bit of time in Spain in La Liga with Real Sociedad too. And some fun facts for you, some that I did the research on, many, many years ago. His parents, Ivar and Christina, they're Olympic athletes. Between the two, they had representation in 4 of the Summer Olympic Games, 80, 84, 88, and 92. And if you're wondering what they did, his father, Ivar, pentathlon, his mother, Christina, the high jump. And then he's such a popular figure in Mexico that he transitions from doing things from track and field, and now he operates, believe it or not, as the executive president of the Mexican Football Federation. So again, I bring this up because we talk about LAFC and the Galaxy on there. There's your tie-in to Orange County Soccer Club.
So you look at that, you look at Cameron Dunbar, you look at the keeper, and then you look to the interview that we just had half an hour ago with John McCarthy. He was in USL2 and then goes to the championship and then gets back with the Galaxy and is a hero for LAFC. So working hard consistently, trying to find your dream, you got to do it. You got to get after it. These guys are proof that you can look to see these heroes that you want to look up to and play, and then you get back into the league. It is so amazing to see these kids get out there, get after it, and play. Colin Shuttler was, was drafted into the MLS. Spent a little time trying to be with the team, and then he's playing USL Championship. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Colin Shuttler makes it back to the MLS. I can see it in that guy's future. Other things with Orange County, they're also in the U.S. Open Cup, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, the longest running U.S. soccer tournament. They're going to be playing in the round of 32. And the reason why they skipped right into the round of 32 is because they made such a strong run last year in the USL Championship that they've automatically moved into the round of 32. They're going to face Loudoun United on May 7th in Irvine at the Championship Stadium. So it's going to be a great game to get out there and watch. There's some extra league rules that are going to allow them to bring a couple of extra players. So they're going to have 20 players on the bench. And then you want to go to a party, go to Gnarly's birthday party this weekend at the Championship Stadium. It's going to be a great time. Just a few tickets are available. You can get them for a great price. Go see Gnarly, have a happy birthday, and let's hope that Orange County Soccer Club gets a result this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be a really good game going up against Sacramento Republic. Obviously, if you look at the standings, they've practically mirrored each other all season longs in terms of their records, from draws to wins to no losses, obviously. So keep an eye out on that. Tim mentioned that there's a couple of tickets left. Look, Orange County Soccer Club tickets are going like hotcakes. And honestly, I don't even know where that expression comes from, because I don't recall ever having a problem getting hotcakes. But you might have a problem getting tickets for Orange County Soccer Club. Let's see if they can continue to maintain this awesome run, undefeated, to take on the likes of interstate rival Sacramento Republic. Again, April 20th will be that game at home in Irvine.
Well, selling like hotcakes reminds me of when the Mustang first came out. There was a breakfast place just down the street from Ford Motor Company that said, "Our hotcakes are selling like Mustangs."
That's a slightly dated reference there, Tim. I mean, does that mean you've been around since Burger King was a prince?
Not quite that long, but I've been around for a minute. So, hey, what else do we want to talk about before we wrap up the show today, Philly? We were talking about some stuff pregame, and what else you got for us today?
Well, I mean, I mentioned it early on. Why not mention it? I mean, we normally talk locally. We talk a little bit locally. How awesome has the Champions League been recently? I mean, the games that have occurred, that game between Dortmund and Atletico Madrid, wild. The game between Manchester City and Real Madrid, wild. The series between Arsenal and Bayern Munich, fun. And then obviously Barcelona and PSG, that's also fun. People talk about how the Premier League is the greatest league in the world. But interestingly enough, the two English teams got knocked out in the quarterfinals. So now you got a team from Liga 1 in France and that of PSG. You got two teams from the Bundesliga in that of Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. And you obviously have... I already lost my track of who. And obviously Real Madrid, who's looking to get a record 15th Champions League trophy. The games are going to be fantastic. Bayern's going to be taking on Real Madrid. That's always a great game. And then Borussia Dortmund is going to take on PSG. We may. I don't want to say anything. Actually, I do want to say something. The fact that the final is going to be at Wembley, Tim, is kind of cool. And especially if Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich both advance, not going to be an easy task. But we may have a rematch of that 2013 final, game in which Bayern Munich absolutely upset Jurgen Klopp's team. I don't mean upset in terms of they were the favorite, upset in terms of they broke their hearts that day. So that'll be fun to watch.
It will be fun to watch. And I'm sporting the Bayern Munich gear today. Just, we talked several weeks ago with Bayern, their coach is feeling it. The coach is not going to be back next season. I think the players are really playing really, really hard for him and want him to walk away with the trophy and kind of
I don't know.
Well, they were written off for dead after the round of 32, and here they are in the semifinals. I spoke about it. I said that they were going to be okay in that match. They came out, advanced. Arsenal played unbelievable in that first game of the 2-match series. And then if you look at, there was a great article this morning in The Athletic about how Bayern completely changed their tactics on how to shut down the entire left-hand side of the Arsenal attack. And it was fantastic. They broke it down. They showed you how they were doing it. They were bringing in their second defender, triple teaming guys, and they really, really shut down that left-hand side. And to walk away with a 1-0 win against a very, very strong Arsenal team was super fun to watch.
100%. And those games are going to be starting on April the 30th as Real Madrid goes to visit Bayern Munich at the Allianz. And then the next day you have PSG coming through to the Westfalenstadion, otherwise known to you neophytes as the Signal Iduna Park. So Champions League on the horizon. We talk about indoor tonight. 7:05 Pacific Standard Time, San Diego Sockers in Mexico to take on the defending champs, Chihuahua Savage. That'll also be another game to watch. I believe that'll be live on Twitch. And that's all I got, Tim.
That's a heck of a lot for the show today, guys. I appreciate your insight, your input, as always, Philly. It's such a great time to be with you here on Soccer in 60. Thanks to everybody listening to us on the radio, streaming us on the internet. Look forward to talking with you all next week. This is Soccer in 60.